Welcome back to Advice Pod on a Friday. My name is Kyle. This is Raysean.
Yo, what's good?
Hey, man. And we have got a Friday Am I the Asshole post to round it out. Let's just jump right into it. You're going to notice it looks a little bit different here today because the post was originally deleted, but thankfully I took a screenshot of it. It says here, Am I the asshole for not helping my mom and aunt care for my grandfather? So I, 22 male, am in a big fight with my mother about this issue. She has asked me to help watch over my 95-year-old grandfather from time to time and gets very mad when I refuse. I live at home and my grandfather lives about 20 minutes away with my aunt. I work about 50 hours a week, help around the house, and am generally really focused on my career during the week. So, as you might guess, I tend to take things easy on the weekends or spend the weekends hanging with friends. My mom works part time, maybe 5 to 10 hours a week, and my aunt does not work. You just struck a chord with me on this one. Today, I was asked by my mom to go watch my grandfather for maybe an hour or two while they both get their hair done. I refused and have now been given the silent treatment by her. Keep in mind, my grandfather has been in and out of the hospital recently, and I have zero experience caring for the elderly. My mom and aunt have hired and fired multiple home health nurses for not meeting their expectations, yet ask me to go help out. It shocks me that they are uncomfortable leaving him with a qualified nurse, yet ask a 22-year-old to help who has no qualifications or experience. This has not been the first time I have been asked to do this either. Maybe I'm being selfish and should go help out, but honestly, I'm very uncomfortable with the possibility that something could happen to him on my watch. I deal with a ton of anxiety as it is, and I know that caring for my grandfather by myself, even if just for a little while, is something that would cause a ton of stress or even panic attacks. I feel guilty for not helping, but at the same time, I feel like I'm justified in my decision because my mom and aunt keep firing the home health nurses that they hire. They believe no one is able to care for my grandfather as good as they do, yet still attempt to drag me into this mess that they've created. Am I the asshole? Ray, you have any sort of experience in this type of family dynamic? I know I have a little bit, but
Well, actually, I do. My mom is actually kind of in this situation when she's in a nursing home, and we've all had to kind of take time out and try to do different things and try to help out with her and stuff like that. So, yes, I can understand that. And I can understand almost every perspective in here. I can understand the perspective of the parents wanting the feeling like we're the only ones that can really treat our loved ones with the proper treatment that we feel like they deserve. Because it's really easy to watch somebody take care of your loved one and feel like they're not doing the proper thing. One thing I think a lot of people don't take into a consideration is when you do fire these people and you do take on the responsibility that I'm going to do everything. I'm going to be this person's caretaker and everything. That is a 24-hour job.
yeah.
That is not something that you can just do for a little bit and then they can take. You have to literally almost be dedicated to doing that and really have a heart to do that, because if not, it can create this resentment where you're like, damn, I'm spending majority of my time, like I'm working, I'm doing this, and then I have to come here and be this, where it's like it's not even feeling like you're taking care of your loved one. It feel like another job. It's like I gotta get off of this and go do this. Now it's like I never get no time to actually be free. Like what you were saying, you're doing your career, you're working 50 hours a week, and then on the weekends you're like, damn, I need a break. And I've gotten to that point because I've rolled myself ragged going to work, leaving work, going to the nursing home, spending my time at the nursing home, then doing that every day to the point to where I literally had to take everybody in my family and be like, I can't do this every day. And I can't, I literally physically can't. Like, because it got to the point to where I was going to the nursing home and I was just mad. Like, and I was
Yeah.
like, and I don't want to be like that. Like, I don't want to be like that in front of my mom. I don't want to have that type of feeling in me like, damn, fuck, I gotta go see my mom. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, that shouldn't be my mindset. So I feel like what you're saying, I understand like the whole anxiety over it and everything. And also remember this, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. I mean, it is kind of fucked up, I guess, from a family perspective. It's like, damn, you can't help your grandfather, all the times he probably helped you out and everything, you can't come and watch him for a little bit, which is crazy because I mean, you probably could just turn on a movie or something and watch him for the
Yeah.
hour or 2 hours. And if it is an hour or 2 hours, because I've had situations where people will be like, "Can you come and watch them for an hour?" And then they be gone all damn day. Then it's like, okay, now you done
Yeah.
fucked up. You will never ever have another person to come and help you because you're taking abuse. So I'm just gonna say this is a situation with a lot of nuances and everything, and I feel like it's hard to really say if particularly or if you're the asshole because at the end of the day, it's what you feel like you can do, and all I can say is try to just be a little bit more helpful when you can be. You know what I mean? If you can help your mom by bring them some food or dropping off some lunch or something, just or talking to your grandpa, because I mean, I hope y'all did have a relationship back in the time where y'all did have a relationship where y'all talked and everything, and you will still want to communicate with them because I mean, at the end of the day, it's still your grandfather.
Yeah. I think that this kid is not an asshole, although I think he kind of feels bad about what he's choosing to do a little bit. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have made the post. He wouldn't be questioning it. He wouldn't be going to Reddit, right? And if that's the case, man, you feel bad about, like you said, man, there's a lot of nuances to this situation. I don't want to get overly specific with my own situation, but I think this kid's biggest hang up on the situation is that he's scared something's going to happen while he's sitting there for an hour or two, where he has to like call an ambulance or drive him to the hospital, or he falls down, can't pick him up, whatever it is, whatever the situation is. I think that's where a lot of that kid's anxiety revolves around. Understandably
Mhm.
so, dude. At 20, I wouldn't want to deal with those type of situations at 34, 35, whatever the fuck I am. I definitely wouldn't want to be dealing with them at 22. I would have probably done the exact same thing if my mom asked me to go to help take care of my grandparents at 22. I've been like, you want me? Don't they get money from the state for no, home health aides? Like, what do I got to go buy there for? I would have done the same exact shit. That said, if you're feeling bad about it and you're wondering if you are or not doing the right thing, you should have the conversation with your mom about it and just be like, listen, this is why I'm really hesitant to want to do this. Like, what if something happens? I don't know how to handle it. And maybe he thinks it's a worse situation than it is, and he's trumping it up in his head because his grandfather's been in and out of the hospital several times in like recent memory. But maybe the mom has some kind of reassurance, like, "Hey, man, he's doing really well right now. He's stable. He pretty much just sits there and watches TV with you. You can't go watch TV with your grandfather for a couple hours. You're making it to be a bigger deal than it is." That said, if he has been burned by them in the past, and this is what you said that really caught my eye, like they say it's only an hour, but then all of a sudden it's an all day thing. I lived with my grandparents fairly recently, and they're, in their mid to late 70s, not in great shape. Either of them really shouldn't be driving at all, have a lot of medical appointments, and similar kind of situation to this kid. Yeah, actually, even worse, the aunt that was primarily responsible for taking care of them lives 2 minutes from their house. It's like a 2 minute drive, literally. And when they start going into the part about like they've hired all these home health aides and fired them, my aunt's done stuff like that too. Like she'll have that kind of they're not doing enough for my mom and dad, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
like on the flip side of that, like she kind of goes out of her way to make sure other people are doing stuff for her mom and dad and not her, because it's, a little bit of an inconvenience, I would probably say. Understandable. So I'm living there for a while. And in the time that I'm living there, I don't have a day job. I'm editing like 6 or 7 podcasts for different businesses and stuff, paying bills, whatever, doing okay. But because I'm the one with the flexible schedule who works for themselves, and I live in the house and I drive, that automatically meant like if they had a doctor's appointment at 9:30 on a Tuesday, I was the one driving them and going to it, and sometimes being a translator because they don't speak English, driving them back. And that's how the framework of it began. And they started to test the waters a little bit. And when I say they, I mean my grandparents. They'd be like, "Hey, we're already down here. Why don't you pull around the corner to the bakery?" I'm like, "All right, what do you need at the bakery?" "Oh, I just want to get some bread, maybe a couple of desserts." Okay, we go to the Portuguese bakery. My grandfather sees all his old friends for 20 minutes, reminisces, buys like fucking $60 worth of bakery goods, like would spend so much money there. And then we'd leave and I'd be like, "All right, let's get home. I have to go have a meeting at noon or whatever." And he'd be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, pull over into this place. We're gonna go to the Portuguese supermarket." What do you need at the Portuguese supermarket? Oh, I just need these two things. Okay, that's it. Just these two things. Yeah, just those two things. 45 minutes later, we're leaving the Portuguese supermarket with a cart full of fucking groceries. We leave. And this happened to me more than once, dude. Like, so many times this happened to me. Hey, you know what they didn't have? They didn't have the octopus or whatever the hell he was trying to cook that week. It's usually my grandfather doing it. He's such a fucking slick talker, dude. He's like, they have it over at Emerald's if you want to. I'm like, no, we don't have time to go to Emerald's. I need to get home. I have a meeting at 12. Oh, okay. I mean, that's okay. I'll call someone else to see if they'll drive me to Emerald's after you bring me home. I'm like, you are such a fucking pain in the ass. You're going to call up one of your daughters in the middle of the day to ask them to drive you by the grocery store that I just drove you by, like, because I didn't have time to stop for you. My point is, nuanced situations like those, sometimes you have a right to be like, you know what, dude, my kindness has been taken advantage of enough, and I have to put my foot down. Once I did move out of there, because it wasn't just them being annoying about stuff like that, but also just a lot of like family drama nonsense that I just wanted to be very far away from. I hated it. My anxiety is already bad enough as it is. Never mind like layering all that shit on top and the frequent hospital visits, the ambulance to the house, things like that, dude. It was a nightmare for me. It was a long year and a half or 2 years or whatever it was. My point is, there's a limit to your kindness, and it sounds like this kid hasn't really gotten to that point yet. It sounds like he's nervous to even enter into that realm and maybe feels bad about it. Maybe just try to be a little bit more. I don't think you're an asshole, kid, but I do think maybe you need to try to help your mom a little bit more. You can watch TV with your grandfather for an hour. What are you, an asshole? No, you're not an asshole. But come on, man, you're kind of trending in that direction, and I'm concerned for you.
Yeah. Just remember the good times I used to have, and communication is the best thing. I think that's one thing you kind of hit on, and I want to just emphasize is just communicate, tell everybody how you feeling, what's going on, and hopefully you're able to come up with a solution that works. Maybe you can watch them when she's there, or maybe you feel comfortable if you take a CPR class or something like that. That's my advice. I don't think you're the asshole. I don't even think your mom's the asshole. I don't think anyone's the asshole in this situation. I just think this is a hard situation and y'all doing your best to handle it.
Let us know down in the comments below. Is this kid the asshole? Did you enjoy my long trip therapy style down memory lane about having to drive my grandparents all around to a million places all the time? Did you enjoy that? If you did, like the video, subscribe. We do these posts Monday through Friday on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get audio podcasts. It should be there. So please subscribe wherever you're listening. We appreciate it. And we'll see you back on Monday for more advice.
And remember, don't be a butt cheek. See you next week.